Good day. Welcome, mates. Welcome to our weekly topical discussion where we go through we're going to do six VR paid experiences that we think are worth the money. So we're not going to do any free stuff this time. We're going to do some stuff that you might have to pay a little bit of money towards. But we personally think that it's worth paying the money for them. So let's get straight into it. We're going to start with who should we start with this week? Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Let's go, Wes. We'll start with you first. So what's the first one you've picked? What's the first paid experience? When we say experience as well, it's kind of a mixed bag, but it's more not a game really. It's more just something that's maybe a bit more passive or maybe interactive, but not an actual game. More educational or movie or something. So,
Right,
what's the first one that you've picked?
right. VR content that's not a game is how I like to define it, and
Yeah.
that can encompass a lot of different things. But the first one I picked was a title called The Great Sea, and this is an interactive. Well, it's not interactive. It's actually a short film in VR. It's about 20 or 25 minutes long. It's based on a short story by renowned science fiction writer Philip K. Dick, which was a well-known science fiction writer from the early part of the 20th century, if I'm not mistaken. So this was like I said, this is a short film. It is kind of a science fiction, post-apocalyptic setting. And it takes place in the future after our civilization has collapsed due to our own doing, warfare, all the fears that we have. Apparently, we have succumbed to those, and we have been reduced to a style of living, something more reminiscent of 200 or 300 years ago. But there's still relics from this time. There's still things in this world, dilapidated as they may be, that are relics of our time in this future setting. So without giving away too much about what happens in the story is about the Great Sea, and it's debatable what the Great Sea really is, but the people that are living in each village have to report to the Great Sea once a year and bring a relic, something of a destructive nature, and offer it to the Great Sea as a sign of our compliance and a sign that we are turning away and rejecting the old ways of humankind and progressing into a more peaceful future. And if you don't comply, there are very strict consequences for the entire village. And the story starts by showing us what happens when you defy the Great Sea. And then you fast forward a little bit later, a few years later, and it's the story that follows this young couple as they make their way to report to the Great Sea and struggle with complying. They don't want to do it. It's difficult. They're constantly debating whether they should. The girlfriend's more conservative. She says, "Of course we should." The boyfriend says, "No, I don't want to." And the whole story is about that conflict, and then what happens afterwards after they make their decision. I feel like that that this story, even though it's based on a very old, probably close to 100-year-old story, that the themes in it are very relevant today. And even though the Great Sea and what it is debatable, I don't think that the message is very debatable, and that is the destructive nature of humankind. And if we don't find some way to unify and start living together, that it's going to have dire consequences for us in the future. So I'll just throw it to Roots. Roots, what did you have? What did you think about the Great Sea?
I think can't we just all get along is pretty much the message of this movie or experience. But yeah, I think it was very cinematic, very graphically really cool. I mean, I find stuff like this to be a little preachy because I don't think it's as cut and dry as far as some people do as far as the science, but we won't go into that. But I just think it was such a cool, well done, very very immersive. It was very done very well, for sure.
Alex, did you enjoy it? Did you think the story? I mean, obviously the graphics and sound, the music, the voice acting, everything is top notch in this thing as far as the production value. But the story, did you take anything from the story?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You know, people are shits, and we're destroying the earth and everything else. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed. It's got a very dark theme to it. Like we're just showing the introduction here, but obviously Roots will reset that in a second, so we don't spoil too much. But yeah, it starts off very dark, and it's got quite a dark theme to it. The, I don't know if I took anything away from it. I already know, that we've destroyed the planet, and I think we're all going to die in a horrible death. But I just sat down and kind of watched it as a movie, just enjoyed it. And there's two modes. There's like cinematic, and then there's like a simple version. If you suffer from motion sickness, do not go for the cinematic, because I don't know which one you guys chose, but the camera is constantly moving. It's like constantly panning left, panning right, moving forward, moving back. And I started to get a little bit of like movement in my stomach. I didn't get sick, but I could see if you suffer from motion sickness or even mild motion sickness, this could get to you. But I tried both just to see what the difference. One's basically where it's constantly panning and kind of like is more of a cinematic experience, and the other one is like a static shot where you kind of the camera stays in one place the entire time and you just watch things from a
Mm.
distance unfold. So if you can stomach it, I would definitely recommend the cinematic viewpoint. But if you can't handle movement, then you definitely need to go for the more simple viewpoint. But yeah, visually it's great. The story is interesting. I mean, I did enjoy it, and there's some twists and turns in there. And I was just looking up actually how much it was, because obviously price wise, yeah, it's £4.79, which I'm guessing what, $6 is it on your guys' side? So
It's,
if yeah,
oh, so yeah, it's something like that. I think it launched for closer to 10, but it's been the price has dropped in the months since then.
yeah, so it's one of those that I think I definitely enjoyed it. It might be worth waiting for a sale if you don't feel it's worth paying that, but it's kind of like a movie ticket, maybe it's cheaper than a movie ticket, and you get to obviously you get to watch this story unfold in VR, and VR is really cool at this sort of stuff because you can see the characters, and there's certain angles where it just looks like you've got these little characters running around in front of you, and the action going on and stuff. So yeah, I think it's a good recommend, and it's definitely one to check out.
Agreed. Agreed. I enjoyed it very much. Uh, the scale of it, we always talk about large scale and small scale being uh, something that really plays well in VR, and this has a kind of a unique scale where it's a small scale, but it's not small on the Tin Hearts Moss side of things. This is more like playing what was it? Hellblade. This is more of like a on a Hellblade scale uh, experience, and it's very visually well done, thematically relevant in our time, as it revolves around the debate whether people should be left to their own devices or if they should be controlled uh, controlled by a greater power to save them from themselves. So a really good story, a really good production, and I definitely recommend it.
Okay, so we'll move on. So Roots, let's go for your first paid experience, what do you recommend people buy?
Okay. This one is a Oculus exclusive. It's Fears. Actually, it's a journey through the cosmos, visual and audio journey, and boy, does it deliver on both of those. Yeah, it's got first off, it starts off. It's got three different narrators: Millie Bobby Brown, Jessica Chastain, and Patti Smith, and each one of them, each experience is unique in and of itself. And I really was blown away by this, just by the interactivity and just the way. Like I love space, and like even in the first one where you're above the earth and you're looking at the aurora borealis, and I just think visually and audio they nailed this one. And I don't know how much of this you guys got to see. Alex, did you tried this, right?
I did all of it, yeah. I did it all in one go. And the first one was kind of didn't really do much for me. They've got, is it Millie Bobby Brown in there, and she's trying to talk a bit artsy, and she's trying to tell you about the sound that planets make, and you've got them like in front of you. You can see our solar system, and you can kind of push them around, and you can stick your head inside them and listen to them and stuff. And it's cool, but it didn't like blow me away. It was the second one with Jessica Chastain which literally shows a black hole forming, and then you get sucked into it, and oh my God, that thing was incredible. That blew me away, just as a visual. It was just incredible the way that there's a visual. Even I used this on the old Rift. There's a visual clarity to this that I've not seen in many other of this type of kind of experience, just like space. But everything's so high res and detailed. The colors, the way that the one thing I will say is if you get a bit of motion sick, you might struggle a little bit with the second one because there's sections where you're moving around quite a lot. I don't know if you guys had any problems. I'm pretty sure you're okay with it, but I'd be interested to put someone new into VR into this and see whether they could handle it. But yeah, such an incredible experience. The second one was the best, and then the third one, which was also really good, which is where it shows how the Big Bang and how the universe began, and the sense of scale in the third one's great because there's literally like Saturn and planets literally coming right over your head, and you get that really sense of scale. Really impressive. This really blew me away once I got through that second one and the third one. In fact, the second one was so good. Once I did the third one, I went straight back into the second one again, and it was just really, really, really good. And it takes, I think they take about 20 minutes each, so you've got about 40 minutes altogether. And yeah, I think this is great. It's not Oculus exclusive, so you would need either an Oculus or you can use Revive. But it's I think this had like $1 million spent on it or something. I mean, it's got big Hollywood actresses narrating it as well, so it's had some real money spent. And when on the third one, when you see Earth, it's the best looking Earth I've ever seen in VR. You can even see like the clouds going around and the detail and the. I won't spoil what happens, but it's really cool what happens in this game and how it looks. Very, very, very good. Wes, you've tried this.
Yeah, I did the first two. I actually I got pulled away and couldn't finish the third one, but I was very impressed with it. It's a very unique blend of how they use audio and video together, along with your hand presence and interactivity. Very beautiful scenes, very artistic the way it was done, and very educational as well. Very, it was a very artistic science lesson, basically, and it takes place out in the cosmos. And I really did enjoy it. It's very, very unique experience, and yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's definitely worth putting a price tag on.
It's kind of the theme that I've been seeing lately is like and I get it. I'm not a big fan of Facebook, but people will shit on Oculus or Facebook. But look at all these experiences, one after another. Whether it was Marvel United, even though it wasn't what we wanted, the money that was spent, the Defector, this like Oculus is pushing VR content on PC like no other, and people need to get off their high horse now. I don't know. It's just weird. It's a weird, surreal time, but I think I appreciate them for what they're doing in these experiences for sure.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Facebook fan, but I can, Oculus, they're doing a great job, and they're paying for some really high-end stuff that we would never see without them, without Facebook money. So, I accept it is what it is. You guys, you did this with the Rift S, didn't you? So I can't imagine how good this must have looked in that, because it looked great even in the OG Rift. But when you did the second one, did you guys talk or like make any noise at the end of it?
I'm gonna ask your name
Yes,
or
of
whatever.
course.
Yeah, that was really cool. Because you'd ask you to speak and stuff, and then it picks up your microphone, and then like you get an echo come back, and it's really cool hearing your own voice come back. And I whistled, and you could hear your whistles come back, and it like affects the lights and what you're seeing, and really well done, really well done.
Right. They integrate the audio and the visual and the touch. Everything works together and affects one another in a very unique and beautiful way.
Yeah, I agree. Okay,
Cool.
so let's move on to Ruuts, did you have anything else you want to say?
No, I just I think it's on sale. I have no idea. I was trying to find, but I got too many windows open to see what the cost is right now. But I'm pretty sure that it's on sale right now, like everything else. So now would be a good time. I don't think it's more than like $7 or $8 full price, or $10, but definitely.
Yeah, I'll look it up, and then I'll let people know. Sometimes it's hard to find these freaking things. I'm just Googling now, and it's oh, it is. I've got it. Yeah, so let me move on to my first experience, which is Hold the World. This is actually Sky Television, which I don't know if you guys get over in America, but they've actually funded this. Well, not funded it 'cause it's a paid experience, but upstairs is £7.99. It's not on sale actually.
Okay.
So it's a touch on the pricey side, but if you like if you like space and you like this sort of stuff, then I recommend it. I really loved it. 40 minutes, really good, really good. But anyway, I'll go back to Hold the World, which is David Attenborough in the National History Museum in London. It's all been done photogrammetry. In fact, they recorded David Attenborough with I can't remember how they do. I think it's some sort of photogrammetry recording. So it's literally done with cameras all over the place, and then they've got like a proper 3D version of him talking to you, so you can move your head around and actually see him in 3D space, he's sat opposite you talking to you. And he's not going to be with us much longer, so it's cool that we've got this version of him captured as well in virtual reality. But yeah, you've got 3 rooms, and you've got like 2 drawers in each room, and then he just talks you through these bones, what they are, where they came from, and then all of a sudden everything disappears, and then the bone comes to life, and then it becomes the actual, and then he's talking to you about this creature, like whether it's a stegosaurus or the world's largest butterfly or something, and you can see animating the animations, and everything's really good. It's got really good production values. Everything looks photorealistic, so you can look around. You're like behind the scenes of National History Museum, where the public can't normally go, and you can look around and everything looks real. Really, it's really a good price as well. It's only £3.99, so I picked this up as soon as it came out, and it's about 45 minutes to see everything. And yeah, I really, if you like any sort of documentary, sort of animal documentaries and stuff with David Attenborough, then it's definitely worth checking out. Did you check this out, Roots? I know Wes, you didn't have a chance to check it out, but Roots, did you check it out?
Yeah, I checked it out yesterday, and I was actually really, I didn't know what to expect because you told me it came out what in 2016, so it's been out a little bit.
No, no, it's
Is it
recent. I
recent?
think it was last year.
Oh, okay,
Last year,
okay.
yeah.
So it's not too. I didn't know what to expect. I guess I was off on the time, but I really liked it. I liked the fact that it was, like you said, very informative, and the way that it would show you. You pull out the whatever it is. I mean, there was like a dragonfly at one point out of a drawer, and you put it on the thing, and like you're seeing, you kind of look at certain areas, and it'll highlight it, and he goes into detail, and you can make it bigger. So I made everything huge and was looking at the detail, looking on the Rift S and looking at things really close because that's where the screen door effect doesn't exist, and it was so cool. And then, like you said, you get to that point where it goes from him describing it and everything just like floats away, and then it comes to life. And at the biggest thing that I thought was the whale was so cool, and having it swimming around, and it just everything about this thing. I look at the future when I see stuff at this, and I just imagine a 10-year-old kid, like you said, getting to watch the David, would you say Attenborough, is that his name?
Adam,
Talk about stuff like we're recording history in a way where you can actually sit across from him and have him describe stuff. And from a history standpoint, I don't think we can really truly fathom how important that is. And as the technology advances, just think about everything, like everything in history that we wish we could go back 100 years and talk to the Wright brothers and watch them explain how they came into flight, and you know what I mean, like just all of those things. I get goosebumps. You go forward 100 years,
yeah,
and you're going back in
you're
history.
You get engaged with it a lot more than just watching it on a TV screen, and I love this sort of stuff. This is the very beginning of it, and in 10 years' time, just imagine. Obviously, we've got BBC who do their big documentaries like the Blue Planet and Planet Earth and stuff. I'm pretty sure they're filming stuff now and making stuff that are going to be VR. You can watch in VR. So imagine when you've got this sort of cinematography and quality that they have in these sort of documentaries, and you're actually sat there and there's a lion walking straight in front of you and stuff, and it's going to be incredible. So yeah, this is definitely, if you're into any of that sort of stuff, then this is definitely worth checking out. And the details are really good. So like if you take a butterfly and then you blow it up, it doesn't just degrade as you blow it up. You can make it massive, and you can still see every little strand of hair and everything on the butterfly's body. So it's had some money spent on this, and it's got good production value. And I think it's a steal at £3.99 or probably $5, I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So, but talking of massive, huge, humongous blue whales, Wes, what's your next experience that you're going to talk about?
All right, so my second experience was one that I just checked out yesterday for the first time, and I was blown away by it. And that's an experience called The Blue, and this is another educational experience. And what it basically does is it takes you to the ocean floor and lets you observe sea life, and apparently there are going to be seasons of this series, and what's available right now is just season 1, and there's 3 episodes. And the first episode's called Reef Migration, and it puts you at the bottom of this coral reef, and there are loads of schools of different sorts of fish that are tropical fish that are swimming around everywhere. There is a fairly decent sized sea turtle that comes over and interacts with you for a moment. And then there is a gigantic school of jellyfish that comes through. And the whole draw of this episode, as well as the others, is one, it's very, very high production value. This is the most realistic underwater scene I've ever experienced in VR. I mean, the ocean descent on PSVR was great. The underwater thing in Summer Funland was okay, but it kind of looked kind of fake. This looked almost real. I mean, you could tell it wasn't real, but it looked almost real. Everything was so clear. The sound is exactly how it would be underwater, and there's some very light. Um, I wouldn't call it necessarily music. I mean, I guess technically it's music, but it's more ambient tones and things that are being played, and it really sets the mood. And it's a very beautiful scene. The second episode is called A Whale Encounter, and it's very short. It puts you on the seafloor in the shipwreck, and you basically sit there. A few stingrays swing by, and then all of a sudden, this gigantic whale approaches, and just the massive scale of this thing just makes you feel so minuscule. Um, but it does make some of the tones and sounds that whales make, and the whale stops, and you make eye contact with it, prolonged eye contact. So it's meant to cause a bit of an emotional connection between you and the whale, and I think it's pretty effective in that. Um, the third episode, which was my favorite, I forget what the title of it was, but it
The
was
Deep, I think.
Something abyss.
yeah, yeah, something like that. It's a dark scene. It's completely dark ocean scene underwater, and it focuses on animals that have bioluminescence. So you have a very weak flashlight in your hand, and the atmosphere is kind of creepy and ominous. But as time goes on, more and more of these little creatures that glow come into the frame, and it lights up the scene, and the scene concludes with a gigantic octopus descending on your little area here. So that part in particular, I really loved. It really made me want to try Subnautica, if I'm being honest, because seeing that, I think that a horror game underwater could really work and be very effective. But I really, really enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Uh, Alex, I'm pretty sure you tried this. What did you think about it?
Yeah, this was one that I bought when I first got my Rift. It's awesome demo material. You can put someone in this and they don't have to do anything. Uh, it's not very long. I think takes about 20 minutes to do all of them. So it's not you don't get a lot of gameplay. Well, not really gameplay or anything out of it. But I bought it because it's really good demo material. I've put loads of people in this thing, especially the whale encounter. I actually jumped in this recently just because I knew we were going to talk about it, and even now, it's so intimidating having this humongous blue whale, which is the largest, obviously, animal on the planet, and it just swims around and it just fills your field of view. You've got this eye, and then it swims off, and its tail whips in front of you, and it's just it doesn't prepare you for how it makes you feel. It's one of those few experiences that really moves you and makes you feel something. And then the other one, the luminous abyss, that one actually scared the shit out of me the first time I did that, because something happens at the end, and it's freaky. It's pretty spooky, to be honest. Yeah, it's like all these little jellyfish fly are around, and you can shine your torch on them, and they like change color and they light up, and it's really cool because more and more of them come, and the place gets lit up, and then all of a sudden there's this noise, and then they all just disappear, and it goes pitch black again. And I won't spoil what happens, but yeah, it looks really realistic, and it's pretty scary. So yeah, it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't already done it, and it's also perfect for demoing to people, especially the whale. The whale really, my sister, I could see her literally taking a few steps back when the whale came when she tried it out, because it really does make you feel it's a really intimidating experience having that whale come in front of you, because it's absolutely huge, and it looks, because of it's not 100% realistic, but it's realistic enough to give you that sense of presence. So Yeah, Roots, have you tried this?
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was really cool too. I thought it was weird when he was right up there. It was like you were literally eye to eye or eye to eyes, because it was just the one eye, and the scale is definitely off the chart. And I would agree with both of you. The immersion level, because of the clarity and because of, I mean, just the way it looks so good. I haven't seen a game. I agree with that statement 100%. That's this good in the water and makes you feel like you're there. I did feel like I wanted to do something like because I didn't know anything about this, so I went into that first level and I was like what? Okay, what am I doing? Am I supposed to be doing something, right? And then I realized, okay, well, there is no interactivity. But and I would agree the luminous one. Was so cool when everything's going on and you've got like all these different things and the numbers keep increasing, and it just looked so good. It was definitely worth checking it out. I was like Wes, I never even really I heard of this, but I never tried it. I was blown away when I tried it. I was like, this is the one for Roots that where I benefit by doing the show, where I'm like, whoa, I never even knew this existed. So
Cool. Yeah, this is definitely. I'm glad you guys have got to check it out. Then that's a good thing about the show, and hopefully someone listening will check it out who hasn't heard about it before. So, yeah. So let's move on to Roots. Your last recommendation.
okay. My last recommendation is Cirque du Soleil, or however the fuck it's pronounced. I can never feel like I pronounce it right, but it's Felix and Paul. I don't know if you've ever seen. It's kind of like going to a circus, kind of. You know, like I guess they do these in Vegas, specifically the Cirque. This has got 4 different acts. This one that's showing here is my favorite, just because it's action packed. There's a lot of fighting. What's cool about this is it's to me the best description I would say is it's like you're going to this show, like say you Wes, you and your wife got tickets to go to this show in Vegas, and you guys are visiting, and you go in and they say, no, we're doing the show just for you. We're going to sit you down on the stage and we're going to do it around you, and we're going to do this show. That's how I felt the first time. Now, and I was talking to Alex a little while ago, and I guess he's done this on gear, and it's not a sixed off experience. This is totally where you can move around completely. And I don't know if they, if they've utilized too much on this, but the 3D, it's just so good. The sound, the choreography, they really did this so well, and in the effects, I really enjoyed it. Now, Alex, like I said, you tried it on gear, so I don't know if you. It's hard to say if you would feel a difference, but what was your experience on the gear with it?
Oh, it was great. Yeah. I'm wondering if it is the same thing actually, because is there one where you're underwater and there's like stuff going on all around you underwater?
Yeah, there's a lot of like ballerina, like acrobatic stuff. It's really weird too. And I'll tell you what, this shit is weird. Some of this stuff is very bizarre. But it's
Oh yeah, there's one where I was on a stage and like stuff like there was like almost like freak shows sort of coming out, and they had little, I don't know, a small person,
Yeah.
and then they bought a throne out for her and she sat on it, and it must be the same thing. But yeah, it's really cool. It's like you say, it makes you feel like you're on the stage, and it's a personal show just for you, and they're just all performing around you, full 360, and it's worth checking out. Definitely. I think it's actually. I mean, I didn't pay for it on the Gear VR, so I think it's free on the Gear VR. But
it's I bought it for $8.99, and it's on sale for right now for $5. But I think it's, to me, I mean, what would you pay for one person to go see one show? And then, if you've got, the way I justify it is, okay, if I have at least one person besides myself that watches it, then it's paid for itself for sure. But I just thought, I think it's very unique, and it's definitely worth checking out.
yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. And even I'd imagine you could probably check this out on the go as well, which is a good thing, because not much people always complain there ain't much on there. So this is definitely something I'd be worth your time. It's it's cool. Like it's your own personal show, and everyone's performing around you rather than you just watching something from the sidelines, which is one of the unique things that you can get in VR. So.
What's crazy is sometimes you'll be like watching and you're focusing on stuff, and you'll turn around and there's someone right there in your face doing something really bizarre, and you're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" It's just it's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so that's Cirque du Soleil. I think that's how you
Yeah.
say it. And this is available on Gear VR Go. I believe it might be slightly different, but it is available. Obviously, is it just Oculus this, or can you
I
get
think
this
it's an
on?
Oculus exclusive, and I
Yeah.
wonder if it's on the
Yeah.
Quest. That'd be a good question.
It probably will be at some point, definitely. But yeah, so we'll move on to my last one, which is the Everest VR. This is one of the earlier titles. It was an earlier experience made by, I think it's Soulfar Studios, who later made In Depth. I think this was their first game, but it's an Unreal Engine game. Very good visuals, looks really nice. They've done a really good job of recreating the actual Mount Everest. It takes you on a bit of a journey. So you start off on the base camp, and it gives you it's like an educational thing where it tells you a bit about uh, you can stand at the bottom at the base camp and you can see the mountain in the distance, and you can pick things up and mess about with them, and then it goes to each stage. Like there's one bit where you've got to go up this sheet ice, and you've got your ice picks, and you've got to stick your ice picks in and climb up the top, and then there's one bit where you're going across a ladder, and yeah, it's not the most interactive thing, but I think as a visually it's very stunning. Very good recreation of the mountain, and will give you that sense of scale. And this, you can go like in a god mode where you can look around the mountain range and see everything. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It's one of the better educational sort of VR things we've got, where it's teaching you about something whilst you're having fun and interactive and doing things. So, Ruuts, have you checked this out?
Yeah, I tried this a while ago, and I really enjoyed it from the aspect of what you said. Like, I'm 99.9% sure I'm never going to climb Everest. If anything, just because a lot of people die doing it, and I kind of feel like you need to be driven to do this. But it's cool to get a sense of what they see, and I'd be interested to talk to somebody that's actually done Everest and that maybe tried this to see how close it is. But yeah, I thought it was very educational, and it was cool to feel like I can say I've been to the top of Everest now. I've climbed it, so yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. They've got some good physics in there as well. I don't know if you got messed about with the like at the beginning, you got these pickaxe and stuff, and you can stick it in the table, and it's almost like Blade and Sorcery. People were saying that that's the first full physics game, but this had pretty good physics. You could bang things together, and for one of the earlier titles, I thought they did a really good job with it. And it's definitely, if you've got any interest in Everest and seeing what it's like, and this is a really good representation, really well detailed, very visually stunning, very good, good voice work. Tells you a bit about it, about each section. There's certain sections of the mountain climb which yeah, I think it was really enjoyable, and I enjoyed it a lot. Anyone else say anything to say on that?
No.
Nope. Okay, so that concludes our weekly topical show, which is VR experiences that we think are worth paying for. So if you've got any recommendations, let us know in the comments. Also, make sure to check out our Discord. We've got a nice little community going on, and we actually have daily chats in there now talking about all sorts of stuff. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you dislike the video, no problem, hit the dislike button. Any recommendations for future topics, let us know. And other than that, we'll say goodbye, and we'll speak to you guys in the next one.
See you later.
Right.
Bye.